we do the GOAT conversation, the greatest of all time. This past weekend on Friday, we're talking about the greatest central defenders, 2 of them, of all time in the DStv Premiership. And I think the guys settled on OJ Mabizela and who else was it? It was OJ and Siyabonga Sangweni. Those are the 2 that South Africa.
And Mkonza in the top 10.
No, and Mkonza somewhere in the top 10.
OJ lo beka stokolisa. Mawurefa ti umniki yellow card vele bofuna kunginika. As a player ngithi bakakhahlela phela ungakhohlwa.
Don't ever call Victor to the GOAT conversation.
No, you're out of this conversation. This Friday, the greatest of all time conversation carries on. Perhaps I've got somebody I can ask though. We've got on the line right now a winning coach. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a big round of applause. Joining Galaxy coach Morena Ramoreboli joins us all the way from Botswana.
He must give us his top 2
coach,
best.
before we even get into this conversation, let's piggyback on what we did on Friday. Central pairing, South African, pre-SL time. That's 96 till now. Who are your 2? They don't have to play together. Any 2 people that played from 96 to now that you would put in your central pairing?
In my central pairing? I'll go for Nel Tovi and Lucas Radebe.
That's pre-96. 96 to now. Let's go PSL era.
Okay.
That
now
way it's
if
easy.
we go to PSL, I'll still go for old John Mabizela and the couple of guys who are
he put you on the spot, coach.
I put you on the spot.
Mabizela is one of them, man.
No, that's a coach. Listen, man, we're just shooting the breeze a little bit there, but congratulations. Well done. You know, we've had you on our show before. We've always followed your progress. Congratulations, you know, going there, doing what you're doing again. It's impressive. Well done. Tell us about the season that was.
Yo, thanks very much, Andile, and a good evening to you and to your crew in the studio and to the listeners at home. And I really want to take this opportunity to really thank you for inviting me on your show again. To be honest, being far away from home, it will never be easy because you need to double your efforts, because when you are home, at least you'll say, no, he tried. But when you are outside the country, people are expecting you to do better than the locals, and that's pressure on its own. But I think we had the most difficult season. Why most difficult season? Because you had to fight with the champions to become the champion, and you had to fight with experienced teams while you are trying to at least build a team that can sustain you for the next 5 seasons. So, I mean, it was not easy, but we had to fight. And I really want to thank God for the opportunity and the achievement. And I think it's only proper for me to thank the team because, you know, sometimes your success comes from the types of players you have. If your players are willing to work with you and they understand what you want to do, then it's easy for you to succeed. And at the same time, when you get proper management of the club who tries their level best to run the club properly, it becomes easy for you to do your job. And I think, honestly speaking, our technical team also played an important role. So it was a team effort, and we achieved this success because I believe that we had worked together, and despite all the difficulties, but we fought.
Oh, Coach, you know, and I just want to make some clarity here. You understand South African football because, yes, you might be coaching in Botswana, but for those that don't remember, I remember that Maluti versus Orlando Pirates when you beat Orlando Pirates with a team from the lower leagues in Maluti football club. So you understand it. Many say, yeah, Andile, you're always telling us about this coach, but he's coaching in Botswana. What is the level of the league in Botswana? He won a league in Botswana, but how does that even begin to compare as far as the PSL is concerned when you look at the technicality, et cetera, and just difficulty levels as well? How far are the Tswanas with football?
Let me start here. Andile, if you check, I think about, if not 4 coaches from Botswana who were coaching in Botswana were regarded very high in South Africa, maybe because they were white, but they went to South Africa from Botswana. The recent one is Floss from Township Rollers. There was there's one who was at Free State Stars. Was the late Major Bright who was there as well. So I mean, I think it simply says that there is something special in Botswana. I know that in terms of resources, South Africa are a bit far from Botswana, but I can tell you the standard of football in Botswana is very high. That is why when you look at the match that played recently, the final of CAF Confederations Cup, one of the players for Algiers is from Botswana. You look at a couple of players from Botswana who are playing in Algeria, Egypt. So it simply says that they produce good players. They have a very competitive league. I don't want to lie to you. It's a very competitive league, and you see most of the time that when football is playing here, the teams are being supported so much. So I believe that the standard of football in Botswana is very, very high. And it's just unfortunate that maybe they don't have the luxury like South Africa, that maybe people can easily watch their matches on DSTV. But I can tell you, I mean, if you get a chance to come and watch football in Botswana, you'll understand that the level is very high.
You privy to all sorts of football there. I know Roy Mahamud and Sfiso Myeni are playing their football there as well. Have you had a chance? I think they're in the lower leagues though, just under you at VTM, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they have just been promoted to Premier League. Roy Mahamudza, Sfiso Myeni, and Lucky Mokoena. Three of them are from South Africa. They are playing in the same team. Lucky Mokoena was with us. He was part of the team that played against the Simba in the Champions League when we qualify for group stage. He's currently playing for a team called VTM. So that VTM has been promoted to Premier League through the playoffs. So that's where Roy Mahamudza is playing. And when you look at that, you will understand that when you bring Roy Mahamudza to Botswana and he's playing in the first division, you
not even in the Premier League. He's playing in the first. Sfiso Myeni, like Kili Roya, playing in the second tier of Botswana.
That's it. And you go check. Tsotsongele is playing for a team that is number 4 currently.
The former Sundowns man.
Top players. Yes, it's quality played for Mamelodi Sundowns, and he has scored 11 goals this season, just to show the quality in him. So I mean, it's understandable for someone who hasn't watched football in Botswana to doubt the quality, but I can tell you the quality is very high.
Coach, it's Mazola here. Just looking at some of the statistics. I mean, winning it 8 points clear, a 30-game marathon. When did you feel like you were close to pulling it off? Because I mean, I saw my colleague Velile was even in Botswana when you were crowned the kings of the Botswana Premier League.
Ramazola, let me tell you something. You know, we went to December break being number 1. And when you play your first match, your first 2 matches, you play 2 big teams in Botswana. We played Rollers this weekend. The following weekend, we played GU, Gaborone United, who were the champions or the former champions. And you go to break, leading the log with 5 points. And you come back, you play 2 draws with these big teams. From that break, you win about 9 matches. Then after the 9 matches, you start to realize that, you know what we have done last year, it has now given us hope that we can win the championship. So I believe that the best thing we have done for ourselves was to start the season well. And it was easy for us, even where we draw points, we could easily recover, because, I mean, if you look at for the better part of the season, we have been leading the league with about 5-8 points at some point. It was just difficult for us to take it to 10. At some point when we were supposed to take it to 10, we lost the match, but we kept on pushing. So for me personally, I believe that the belief we had was how we started the season, and it gave us hope to say, if we remain consistent, we are going to win this. And fortunately, God was with us. We remained consistent, and we ended up winning it.
Coach, Champions League.
Yeah.
Exciting?
Yes, sir.
Exciting, the Champions League, the thought of it, the intensity of it. Because, and I ask you this because I feel like that's the only way others will finally get to see you.
Good, and how good the team is, the Botswana Premier League.
I think Andile, what happened in the CAF Champions League was lessons which took us to the championship of 2022-2023 season. And I think if you ask me about the North African teams and the type of football there, I mean, I have seen them playing 3 teams from the same region. I've seen them playing, and I can tell you that if you are to face teams from Morocco, if you have to face teams from Tunisia, if you have to face teams from Algeria, there's a particular way in which you need to approach your match. So I think those lessons will remain in us for as long as we live, because I mean, we needed to go through that phase and learn. If you take me now to face any team in the north, I can tell you now, they are not going to do what they did in the past, because when we were playing them, we were learning what they are doing. And which is one thing that I think Coach Rulani and Mamelodi Sundowns have mastered in terms of making sure that they know that the more you deny them to have the ball, the more you force them to cover bigger distances, that's how well you are going to play against them. But if you allow them to play in shorter distances, that's what they enjoy most, because they hate to run. And all these lessons made us understand that if you want to do well, you need to increase intensity every time you are playing a match of football, because a game of football is won on how many times you get entries into the box, how many times you penetrate the defensive block. And all these things are lessons which have built it in what we were trying to build up to so far.
Coach, before we let you go, you played in the lower divisions of South African football, beat one of the big teams in South Africa. You took on the national team. You won COSAFA, beating the best of Southern Africa. You've gone to Botswana now, and you've won again. Is there a bug that says, South Africa, somebody see me? Is the end goal to say, I want to come to South Africa and coach? Do you feel like you're not being seen here? Do you feel, and I heard you twice now mention, because I'm black. Do you think that you're being overlooked? Do you feel overlooked, Domara?
I believe in waiting for God's time. I will wait for God's time, and if it has to happen, it will happen. I love football so much that if you take me now and say, go coach a 3rd division team in South Africa, wherever, I'll still give the same effort that I'm giving here in Botswana, because I believe that a game of football needs to be respected.
Coach, come on. We've got every single club owner, coach in this country is listening to the show. And I want to know from you, do you want to come? I mean, yes, right now you're contracted and you're working, and I understand that you've given yourself to Zwaneng and you're going to focus there as long as the job is there. But we're talking about somewhere in the near future. Do you want to come home? Do you want to get a chance in the PSL? Do you think that's something that you could come on and be impactful? I do. Do you?
I am ready, and I'm ready to come back home and serve the country and serve football in South Africa. I'm following South African football every day. If you ask me about a player in the 1st division, I'll tell you now. If you ask me about a young player in the country now, I'll tell you, because I am a South African and I follow South African football, and I am ready to coach South African football.
Listen, he's done it all. We had to give him a call and say congratulations. Zwaneng Galaxy coach and winner of the Botswana Premier League, Morena, Ramoreboli. Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Andile. I really appreciate my brother. Thanks.
There we go. Next time when you see him somewhere, you know where they would have heard it. It's 6:32. Mazola, what are Chiefs doing?
Chiefs are also in discussions with some of the players. We'll get into it later, because we've spoken about it on the show before. There are players whose contracts are running out, and the clock is ticking.
When I was speaking to Safa as well, because seemingly, and there was a back and forth and we weren't sure, World Cup coming to South Africa? CEO of Safa is going to come and tell us about it. Let's take a break. We are waiting to have a conversation with Safa, so they might delay our 18:45 and we might end up making it an 18:50 when they do come on. But I do know it's a marathon across all the stations for Safa at the moment. And this is not a Sports That Amplified sanctioned conversation. This is the SABC, who are in partnership with Safa, saying, hey, let's give them an ear so that we spread what it is that they're doing. because I know you're going to say, but Andile, you said you want Safa on to ask them ABC. No.
Yeah.
This is not that conversation.
Where they had questions.
No, this is not that conversation. But we're going to be taking those calls on 086 0002160, WhatsApp on 060 552 The weekend that was. Absolutely anything from the weekend. Mazola?
Let's get into it, Andile. One of the big stories, Chippa United. Seemingly, Morgan Mamila is a wanted man. I don't know if he's because he was here on Sport Night Amplified with Andile, and then the man must just show up his CV everywhere now. He's getting calls left, right, and center. We've been talking about the rumors even when Lehlonolo Siema was here. We were talking about suggestions that he could be going back to Chippa. It is true he's had conversations with Chairman Siviwe Chippa Mpengesi, but now he's not the only one that the chairman wants at the club. The chairman is targeting a trio of coaches for next season. Kwanelo Kopo is one name that's been mentioned, and a young up-and-coming tactician who was in the lower division with All Stars FC, Sinetemba Badela. He was the coach of All Stars FC. Now we know that All Stars FC have since sold that status to Black Leopards, so the club is being dismantled. Therefore, everyone there is unattached, and it's a conversation that's ongoing at the moment. Whether Coach Kwanele and Coach Badela will agree, it's another thing. But we know that Morgan has agreed to go back to Chippa next season.
As what though?
Part of the coaching trio. I mean, my understanding is that he could double up as an administrator and sit on the bench, which is what he did in that short period that he took over, where he was talking about being the first ever Chippa United coach to win.
So he's going to be a coach and an administrator.
Coach and administrator. Coach Morgan, we know you are listening, so you
can correct us.
You can come and sit on the top table here and correct us.
All right. So Chippa United news. Yeah, let's move on.
Chippa United news. Let's go to AmaZulu. There was supposed to be a press conference in Durban on Friday, but it was cancelled, I believe, due to the chairman's flight being delayed, something along those lines. But he did have it as promised, 10 a.m. Monday morning, confirming that your favorite coach, Roman Falls, has resigned as technical director. So that 3-year contract that was signed before he subsequently was elevated or demoted, however you want to look at it, to being technical director, is now null and void. Therefore, Roman Forhloza will probably go back home. We don't know if he's sticking around to get another job here in South Africa. But at the same time, there are 11 players that Sandile Zungu, the chairman at AmaZulu, says will leave the club.
11 players.
One of them we know is Lehlonolo Majoro. Yeah. We know the second one is Dumisani Zuma, who's also leaving. So we are waiting to find out the rest of that list. Then let's quickly go to Nachurena Kotabeng. Kaizer Chiefs are in talks at the moment with defender Sfiso Hlanti, 33 years old. They were meant to exercise his option before May. The deadline was the 31st of May. They missed the deadline, but there's an understanding between the two parties that they can then sit and renegotiate his terms. Indications are that he could get a 1-year contract, based on maybe performance-based going forward to see how he does. A crucial player in Coach Arthur's season, this past 2022-2023 season, with the number of games that he's played. But given his legs, Coach Arthur did also raise concerns that Hlanti is obviously getting older, and they would look to probably get a backup so that he doesn't play as many games. We know that they've signed a couple of centre backs, which enables Edmilson Dove to move to the left side of defence, which means he could alternate that position with Sfiso Hlanti.
We've also got a Banyana story, but we'll take that to Soccer Zone a little bit later on. You're going to have to be watching SABC 1 and SABC Sport to get that. We go on at 10:30 on SABC 1.
Correct. We'll take that to SABC. We've got, as a parting shot, Tapelo Morena also has had his 2-year option triggered by Mamelodi Sundowns. So he will be at Clearcorp until June 2025.
Good retention, that. 6:39. We take a break. When we come back, Alessandro Giacobone is an Italian journalist. We're going to be speaking to him about Ibrahimovic. Hey, the city seems to be crying after he's left. And we've got all the way from Italy, Alessandro Giacobone, who is an Italian journalist, speaking to us about Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's announced his retirement from football after 819 games, 493 goals, some of which are the most spectacular ever seen on a football pitch. 32 trophies all in all. A legend of the game. Hey, you move Messi and Ronaldo out the way, surely this man fights for one of the greatest players of our generation. Unfortunately, it's that one thing that I think he played a long to try and get that he didn't quite get there. Alessandro now join us. Alessandro, always great to have you here on Sports Not Amplified with Andile. Welcome to the show.
How are you, my friend? How are
hey,
you? How are you?
Alessandro, always great to have you on the show. Hey, listen, man, it seems Milan is in tears over the last weekend. Talk to me about Zlatan deciding to call it a day.
But I was like in the stadium. I was at San Siro yesterday, last night, and believe me, I wish you were there like with me because the feelings, the vibes, the emotions that we had with the buy of one of the most important players. You know, like you said the right words, like about him. Like it's a champion. It's one of the rare example of the champion of the last years. He wear like so many shirts with many clubs. But wherever he played, like he imposed like his power, his character, is like willing to win all the time. He's a winner. He's a winner. When I think about Ibrahimovic, he's a winner. But yesterday, even if he likes to play, to look like a god, to look like untouchable, to look like a piece of stone that nobody can touch him, yesterday was crying. Yesterday he showed that also Superman has a heart.
Wow.
And I was there, and let me say that I had like my ghost-like skin because, I was emotional. I was like under trance, like I was like, I don't know how to explain. You just to be happy in your life, to have like like a kind of situation like this. I wish to all of our listeners and you, of course, like to have like one experience like I had yesterday, because it's been
That's
like
amazing.
amazing, yes, and powerful. The love of one entire city, the love of one entire, soccer world, because on the social network you can see that all the clubs, the most important clubs, celebrate these players. This player because he's the number one, is Ibrahimovic.
Tell me, Alessandro, though, do you think the fact that he never got to win a Champions League, do you think that'll always be a little bit of a dent in his career, illustrious career? I mean, despite having played for some of the best teams in the world that have won and dominated the Champions League, he never got to win it.
Yeah, but you see, we are talking about him like one of the most important players, and even if he didn't win the Champions League, but how many players? Even Paolo Maldini never got like the main trophy for the single players, the golden ball. So sometimes you can play with a team that is not ready to win the Champions League, or some referee that kick you out from the championship, like without your fault and everything. Like you cannot judge a player for a trophy. You judge a player for a career, entire career. And let me say, I say strong words about him. And listen, there are many players. There are many players that wear like our red and black, jersey. Many champions, many very good players. And I can do a list that is like taking 1 hour to read all. But few of them, they decide to wear it when AC Milan needed.
Wow.
Okay. And the first one, and that's the reason why I love him so much, was Franco Baresi, when decided to stay with AC Milan and go in the second division, many years ago when we were in Serie B. So Ibrahimovic decided to get married with AC Milan for the second time when AC Milan needed, when we were like losing 5-0 with Atalanta 3 years ago. So That's something that, as a supporter, also journalist, but also supporter of AC Milan, I will never forget.
Oh, Alessandro, thank you so much. You've painted such a beautiful picture
Yes.
of what it was like inside the San Siro last night. We will speak again, I'm pretty sure, but thank you for coming on.
Thank you for all that, and it's been a pleasure to be part of your show again. So talk to you soon, and I'm waiting for you in Italy as soon as possible.
Always Italian journalist Alessandro Giacoboni speaking to us from Milan. He was in the stadium yesterday. He says, you got to experience the emotion. I was there when Sir Alex Ferguson played his last game.
Yeah. Also, now would be
at Old Trafford.
Would be a great time to read the book I Am Zlatan.
Oh, I've read it.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing book. He goes at Pep in the first chapter. Goes at Pep in the first chapter. It's 6:51. Tavik,
Yes.
what's happening in June, July?
New rules. Law number 10 has changed a little
What's law
bit.
number 10?
Law number 10 is called determining the outcome of the match.
Yeah?
So, yes, we used to have...
It's determined by goals.
No, yes, but now we have kicks from the penalty mark. It has been changed now. It's now called a penalty shootout.
Yeah?
Yes, no longer kick from the penalty mark. It's a penalty shootout. That's one. Number two...
Tafiki ana content.
Tafiki Rakuza, no, what is that?
Our listeners wants to know. If you get a yellow card during the match, you get another yellow card during kick from the penalty mark, you don't get a red card.
Tafiki ana content.
Baba, it's yellow. Two yellows in that match.
But 2 yellow cards have always been a red.
But now, kick from the penalty mark or penalty shootout now. It's no longer part of the match. It's only extra time.
If I don't get it, I don't know if the players
I don't get
are
it.
get it.
CEO, what does he say? CEO suffers.
I'm not sure.
We don't get it.
Say
it again.
If you get the yellow card during kicks from the penalty mark.
What is kicks from the penalty mark?
Or penalty shootout. Now it's penalty shootout from the 1st of July. So now, when you draw in the match, in the cup match,
and you go to penalties.
You go to extra time, you still draw. You go to penalties. So now when you go to penalties, you get
who
the
gets
yellow
a
card.
yellow card during penalties?
That's what we call fainting in the match. When you go stop, you stop and then you don't kick, it's fainting, you get a yellow card for that. Or the goalkeeper infringes.
I'm not content. Season night home. The man doesn't deserve a mic today. CEO, thank you for having us. Exciting news coming out of Safa.
Yeah, you finished, Andile.
It's not me, it's nothing. Welcome to the Three Wise Men on a Monday. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you to you and your listeners. And thanks for inviting me.
Skills.
Soccer World Cup.
Yes.
I mean, the last time we spoke about a Soccer World Cup in this country was Philip.
Yeah.
Philip was
Is
here.
Philippine coming?
Philippine must come to South Africa.
What's going on? Give us more.
So we have shown interest to FIFA that we want to host the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup. And we have actually signed a bid agreement to say we are in it. So the next step for us is to actually gather data and do our research so that we can prepare a bid book that is due to FIFA on the 8th of December this year. So in August, we will be going to New Zealand and Australia for a bid observer program to guide us in terms of what are the requirements in terms of as far as the bid book is concerned. So yeah, so that's where we are. We have this afternoon briefed the Minister of Sport, Honorable Zizi Kodwa, in terms of how far we are, so that he is also aware, and he will give us an audience on Thursday at the MINMAC with the various MECs so that we can explain to them further how far we are before we engage the different host cities.
The only question I can think of that many South Africans must be wanting to know as well, Lydia, is CEO, why?
Why? There are quite a few reasons that I put in my presentation in terms of why. One of them being our long-term strategy that we wanted to host this event. You will recall that in 2023 we had actually put forward our interest to bid for the 2019 we had put an interest to say 2023 we wanted to host the FIFA Women's World Cup. However, we withdrew because we wanted to focus on building the Women's National League and also building Banyana Banyana. And we are quite quite confident that we have come as far as we want to. Banyana has qualified for their second successive FIFA Women's World Cup, and we are in the 4th season of the Women's National League. So I think we have built a lot of traction as far as women's football is concerned. I think now it's about taking that step further, in terms of inspiring young girls in South Africa, in COSAFA, in the COSAFA region, and also in Africa. Because you know that if we get the right to host the FIFA Women's World Cup, we get so many other things over and above just the 90 minutes between the 4 white lines.
So the buy-ins that you need would obviously be government in South Africa, which you're saying you're in engagement with, COSAFA, and then CAF, I can assume.
Yes.
You've told us you're speaking to government. Are they keen from what you've said? And I'm asking this because I remember reading that they weren't. So can you perhaps clarify that? Where is the government whom the support you need? Where are you with getting the approval, so to speak?
Government is full in. I mean, we have a letter from government. Before we actually put forward our interest to host the event, we had to have a government letter, backing us to do this. So we got that letter, and as indicated, actually this very afternoon, we're in a meeting with the Minister of Sport, where we're discussing further in terms of how far we are, but they are full on board. And I did read someone saying that, the government has said they're not backing us, which was not true. We have engaged the Minister of Sport quite several times, and like I'm indicating, on Thursday we will be engaging MECs on this matter, and we will be going to the different provinces in terms of getting the host cities on board as well. So government 100%. We have the COSAFA backing. At the last COSAFA AGM they did back us, and last week Dr. Giordano was in Cairo speaking to the CAF SG in terms of our interest. So, yeah.
Hafezara Kairoman, ask him to just come by. Just for an hour. Just for an hour. I was in two minds about this. Because I thought to myself, 2010, what were some of the gains? What are we going to gain by this? Why are we doing this? The country's where it is. Do we really need to be hosting another one of these? Then I thought to myself, what is the benefit of having done everything we did in preparation for 2010 if it is never used again? What is the benefit of the stadiums that are so beautiful if we don't use them and they sit as white elephants? What is the benefit of the people that, in and around stadiums were made to be able to access them easier? And how are we building this women's game if we're not going to allow the very best to come here and see what we're doing? So Lydia, on that, and for me, that's what it is. I'm like, perhaps this is something that we should push for. Perhaps this is something that we should do. Soccer's on a little bit earlier. We've got a full 10 minutes there, a little bit later rather. So we'll have a continued conversation from this. But thank you so much for coming through. Really appreciate it. We can't wait for you to convince the president to come.
Let's go get it, Skills.
Look at her face.
I will convince the president to come.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. The three wise men, we're going to get out of here. Who are we blaming the fact that we didn't take calls? Who are we blaming that on?
Team.
Good team, you know?
Good team.
Yeah, no, voice notes at least. At least let's play one or two voice notes. The CEO is going to be leaving the building. And by the way, this is the first time we are seeing you as a unit here. Congratulations. We're celebrating 30 years of Banyana last week. Yeah. And we had the first captain and the first players that played there. And to see one of them is leading Banyana and the other one is leading Safa. What a time. Congratulations. You continue to inspire us.
Thank you.
All the listeners at Metro FM, the broom at Amazulu, that one was you. The one that swept all those people, technical staff, players, and even the people that I think we still needed at Amazulu, so that Amazulu can be competitive again next season. But let's hope the broom didn't sweep even those people that we needed most. Moses Mukwena of Ramoreboli. Thank you.
I'm not doubting the quality in Botswana League, but you can't tell us about people who retired 5, 6, 7 years ago and say, look at them, they are playing for the second tier because of the quality. Really,
they're not playing in the top tier.
They cannot play for any South African team.
And
you say, look at them, they're playing at the second tier because of the quality. Really? No, man. Come on.
Hola, Taviso from Bloemfontein. What a weekend it was. I would like to touch on the Manchester derby. City has done it. I see you don't want to talk about it because your team.
We forgot.
We
forgot.
Again this weekend on the final of the Champions League.
I think they're going to get a triple.
For me, undoubtedly, Manchester City is the best team in world football.
I agree.
In the past 5 seasons, they've been doing it so much.
They pipped that Liverpool team because of the consistency. No, I agree.
He's the best coach there is now in the world.
100%.
Fantastic coach.
No, I agree.
Must make a turnaround there by Chelsea there.
I don't think so. It's just not enough blue in the world could dye that light blue to a dark one. One after the R7. We've got to get out of here. We're terribly sorry we weren't able to take your calls, but I'm pretty sure that you enjoyed the conversations we had. We wasted your time, Katavik.
Penalty shootout.
No. We wasted your time there. We've got to get out of here.
Please go do your homework.
You can catch the 3 of us this evening on Soccer Zone. From all of us, courtesy of SABC Sports and the Mighty Metro FM, it's Sports that Amplified with Andile. On a Monday, it's the 3 wise men. Pella. Nganzo.